What's up, guys? This is Ryan Johnson with MNYBS.com. Man, listen, I have a good one for you guys today. All the co-anglers out there, also you boaters, let's get involved in this one. We're going to go over some of the top baits and lures that you want to use as a co-angler to get the best results. But guys, before we get into that, you have to make sure that you tune in for Tuesday night's live stream. Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. The topic will be going over co-angler and boater situations, co-anglers versus boaters. It's going to be kind of an interesting topic, and I will put a link in the description for one of the videos that I did drop. I think that was yesterday, and it's getting a lot of views, a lot of interest and feedback on it. So I think this will be a great topic that you guys do not want to miss. And before we go ahead and get into these lures that I have for you guys, make sure you hit the like button on your way in, and also in the comment section in preparation for Tuesday night's live stream. Please answer this question: backboating. What is the definition of backboating, and what do you consider to be backboating versus maybe the person just isn't in the location that they want to be, or things just aren't going their way? But what is backboating to you? Let's go ahead and get into that. Let's see what you guys have to say down in the comments. All right, guys, let's get into the top lures that you want to have as a co-angler to kind of make the best out of any situation that you are in. So for me, I fished as a co-angler for 2 years. First year I fished as a co-angler, I believe I came in second place for co-angler of the year. The second year I fished as a co-angler, came in as first place co-angler of the year, guys. It was a great experience, a very good learning experience. And these are some of the things that I did in order to make that happen. All right. So one of the things that you definitely want to have, in my opinion, for as a co-angler is some type of top water bait. Depending on the time of year, water temps, things like that. Of course, you always want to do your research, but as a co-angler, what I'm doing is I'm trying to get the 3 biggest bites that I can. Even if it is a 5 fish limit, I'm looking for 3 good bites, and then hopefully I can fill that limit with 2 other keeper fish. But I'm going to start off with something like a buzzbait, and the color is going to be dependent on the watercolor, water temp, things like that. But a good buzz bait, guys, that's something that you want to keep on deck. You can use this to go over cover, different type of structure, things like that. And it is very versatile. If that is shallow water, that's mainly where I would use that at. The other thing that you can use is going to be some type of walking bait, something on top water. So whether that boater is going to be offshore or shallow, this bait right here is still something that can catch some good sized fish. And depending on how fast that boat is moving, how close they are to the bank, things like that, this is something that you definitely need to keep in mind that can save the day for you. Another thing that you want to make sure you have is going to be some type of crankbait. And depending on whether it's shallow, you may want to stick with something like a Squarebill. See if I can get that right there for you guys. Some type of Squarebill. And of course, as always, the color variations are going to be depending on the watercolor and things like that. The other thing that you want is something, this is a 6XD. So I would keep a box that would have kind of a variety of choices from a square bill to a 6XD, depending on if that person is going to be offshore. You can make sure that you can get that fish down to that deeper water, that deeper level, and catch some of those suspended fish. The other thing that I would say next, guys, is going to be some type of bait with a something flashy on it. So of course, a spinnerbait is going to be one of the top options. And with that, you either want to go with the Willow blade or Colorado blade, depending on the clarity of water, how much thump you want, how much attention you need to draw, how much attention you need in order to draw those fish to the bait. Another thing to keep in mind, if you need something a little more weedless, is you can go with something like a flashy swimmer, guys, and just put, you can change out the size of the swim bait on the back of that, and you can also change the size of that spinner that's on there depending on how fast you want to move the lure, how much water depth you want to get out of it. But that's also a weedless option, to where if you want to throw that into some type of cover or something like that, as a co-angler, that is something that you really need to keep in mind, because you don't want to be getting stuck on a lot of structure whenever you're trying to or cover whenever you're trying to catch those fish. All right, guys. And of course, something that you always want to have is going to be a jig, guys. And I would keep multiple sizes of this also in case you're going to be shallow or you may be deep. Sometimes you never really know where you're going to end up, especially as a co-angler. Sometimes the boaters don't even know that that they may end up offshore, depending on how the day goes. But keeping a good jig on there, and of course, the color selection is going to be dependent on the watercolor and things like that. You know, just always want to keep that in mind. Time of year, watercolor, water temps. All right. The other thing, guys, that I would suggest that you need is going to be a shaky head. Now, this is a very, very versatile bait, very versatile lure and setup that you can use. Of course, the standard on that is going to be some type of worm, whether you want to go with a larger size or sometimes you may need to go with a little more of a finesse tactic. So you may want to shorten that up a little bit with some type of Zoom product, trick worms, finesse worms, things like that, or robo worms, just whatever you feel confident with and that you want to put on that shaky head. The other thing to keep in mind, guys, is with that shaky head, it doesn't always have to be some type of worm. It can be a crawl bait or it can even be some type of creature bait. Whether you want to downsize that or get something a little bit bigger, it just depends on the type of fish you have in that lake as far as the size and caliber of those fish. And the other thing to keep in mind that you can easily swap out, take that worm off and try some type of swim bait. You can cast that out, count it down, and get that to the water depth that you want. And you can get a lot of good bites on a swim bait on that shaky head. And being that you don't have a large option as far as bringing a lot of different rods with you, you want something like that you have the ability to change up pretty quick. um the other thing that I would say, guys, is always keep a drop shot rod with you. And with that drop shot, a lot of times if you are able to be in a situation where that boater has a sonar at that console, you can see those fish under the boat. Whenever you see those fish under the boat, you definitely want to drop that drop shot down there, because there's a chance that fish may connect and you'll get another fish to the boat. So those are the options that in my opinion, are some of the best options that you can use. If you guys have other suggestions, please make sure you get active down in the comment section. And don't forget that question that we will be going over in the live stream on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Every Tuesday at 8 p.m., guys, we'll be doing the live stream. But this one in particular is going to be a very good one. So make sure you tune in for that. And also, in preparation for that, let me just go ahead and tell you this last poll that I put up and just kind of give you an idea of one of the topics that we will be covering. So the question is, what is the worst way to get backboated? One, being nosed out from where you want to cast. Two, boater using live imaging. Three, the boater fishing too fast. And four, boater fishing too close to the bank. And obviously, there will be other options that we may discuss depending on the input that I get from you guys in the comment section. But right now, based on those options, I will just tell you this: being nosed out from where you want to cast is 65%. Boater using live imaging is 15%. Boater fishing too close to the bank is 20%. So the majority of co-anglers so far from this poll that I put out, the main issue that they have is being nosed out from where they want to cast. So we're going to go over that, guys. We're going to go over some options that you guys have, some things that you may not have thought of that can not really be as big of a factor as what you're thinking it is, and you can still get those fish to the boat and get the outcome that you want. All right, guys, I hope that information has helped you out. I really appreciate you for supporting the channel. Make sure you hit the like button on the way out if you did not hit it on the way in. All right, guys, make sure you tune in for Tuesday, and I will see you on the next video.